It is Tuesday, November 3rd, 2020, Election Day. I feel weird. I've been waiting for this day for quite a while. It's here. It doesn't feel like it's here, but it's here. So I'm going to show you what my prediction is for this race. And ultimately, this may not be, the night of. It may take a few weeks, like it did in 2016, to count all the votes and really see, in terms of state by state, who won in the popular vote. But let me show you right now, before I get deeper into specific states that I want to discuss. Overall, this is what I think is going to happen. I think Joe Biden's going to win the election 335 to 203. So obviously this is an estimate, but I will go into my reasoning for this. But just overall here, looking quickly, you can see I think Biden takes Arizona. I think Trump wins Texas. I think Biden takes Florida. This may be the most debatable state here, but I'll get into that. I think Biden takes Pennsylvania, another very key state in this race. And Biden takes Wisconsin. Trump takes Ohio. Ultimately here, I think those are the main pieces. Georgia, Trump takes Georgia. Ultimately, I think this is actually a conservative estimate. I think you're going to see in 2016, the Trump vote was largely hidden. In 2020, I think the Biden vote is being underrepresented. I think a lot of people who didn't vote in 2016, who just assumed Hillary's going to win, those people are going to come out for sure and vote against Trump, voting for Biden. And I think you're also going to see a big turnout for younger voters. Gen Z is a lot more engaged in politics than generations before. And I think you're going to see a big turnout for young voters, and they're going to push for Biden because they want to get rid of Trump. Again, this election is mostly about getting rid of Trump. It's not because Biden is super popular. People just want to get out Donald Trump. So I think you're going to see a big turnout because of that for Joe Biden against Donald Trump. But of course, the other issue here is voter suppression. Voter suppression, and will all the votes actually be counted? Will Trump be able to challenge, say, the counting in Pennsylvania? And will that cut into the potential victory for Biden there? These are all questions that are up in the air, but this is why I think this is actually a conservative estimate. I think it's possible Biden takes Texas. I think it's possible Biden takes Georgia. But I'm giving it to Trump just to be conservative here, but let me start with some of the breakdown. So Arizona, I think this is going to go for Biden. You have John McCain's widow backing Joe Biden. You have Mark Kelly, the Democrat in that state, who is heavily favored to win the Senate seat there. And polling looks pretty good overall for Joe Biden in Arizona. So I think Biden's going to pick up Arizona. Let's go to Nebraska now. You see here the slash through here because Nebraska is a state where you have split electoral votes. So I think Biden's going to win Nebraska's 2nd district. Let me show you why I think that. Even though it's heavily favored for the Republican there, I got to say this is maybe the one state where my bias is taking control because I really like Kara Eastman. She's a fantastic candidate. I hope she wins this. And this is close enough when you combine this, even though she's, not expected to win, 60 to 40. But when you combine this with Biden, who is heavily favored to win the 2nd district, 72 to 28, I think this is going to help Kara Eastman in the 2nd district, and I think she's going to take that. So that's why I believe that is split. And also just showing you in 2016, this was a very close race here. So even though Trump, had a big turnout in 2016, the 2nd district, he only won by 2%. So I think this can easily break the other way and go for Biden. And just showing you, I think this is 2008. Yeah, 2008, it went for Obama. So, the other part of the theme here for me is I think a lot of the Obama support is going to come out for Biden, and I think that's going to push Biden over the edge in many of these key battlegrounds. So that is Nebraska. Let me next go to Texas. So Texas, I think polling is close. There's a big turnout already in Texas, but I don't think Biden's going to turn out the Latino vote that is needed for him to really take that state. So I think that's ultimately what's going to lead to Trump maintaining Texas. So for me, it breaks for Trump, but I would love to see this flip. I just don't think it's the year. Next, let me go to Wisconsin. So this for me is is easily Biden. Biden's been leading there by about 8 points, but there's been polling showing him leading there by as much as 17 points. So I think this is an easy Biden pickup. Ohio, let me go there. So Ohio, I am putting this for Trump, and that's because ultimately polling is showing less than a 1% difference here. This is a very close race. If Biden takes Ohio, I think the election is pretty much over. I think it's going to be an indicator of how big the turnout for Biden actually is. But ultimately, it's a close race. It's been, for the most part, I mean, it's been back and forth, but it's been for Trump enough in polling that I think it's going to stay Trump. So I think Trump takes Ohio. Georgia, I got one tab for you there. So Georgia, you see here, I have this going to Donald Trump, and it's because polling has been very close. It's been back and forth, as you see here. I think this is a voter suppression state, which ultimately is going to hurt Joe Biden, help Donald Trump, which is why, for me, even though this is a very close race, I think it breaks for Trump because of voter suppression. Florida now. Florida, as you see, I have for Joe Biden. Let me show you why. So, starting with this. They're turned off by him. This is a headline from The Guardian. Trump in trouble as Florida's seniors shift towards Biden. The economic and health effects of COVID have special resonance for the state's older voters, and that's not good news for the president. I think COVID is going to be the big, essentially what's going to push Biden over the edge in Florida. You have seniors largely now siding with Biden over Trump, which was not the case in 2016. But because of that, and of course a heavy senior population in Florida and a heavy impact of COVID in Florida, and that combined with the polling, I think it's going to be a victory for Biden in Florida. This, of course, is very debatable. Voter suppression, of course, also a potential issue here. But I think because of the seniors, because of how polling has looked for the most part, and where it's been breaking for Biden recently while Trump's been going down. Even though it's very close here, as you can see, I think ultimately it's going to break for Joe Biden. Now let me go to North Carolina. So North Carolina, I have going for Joe Biden. This is another one that's debatable, of course, as many of these are. But if I can show you, I think I have one tab for North Carolina. Here we go. All the recent polling is showing either even or breaking for Joe Biden. So I'm sticking with Joe Biden here. I think it's going to be very close. But again, you see how wide it's gotten. Again, very close in the popular vote. But ultimately, I think it's going to break for Joe Biden. Now, Maine. This one is a little complicated, as there is Maine's 2nd district. Let me go through the history here. So even though I have Maine breaking for Biden, let me show you what's been happening in the past. So, 2008, Obama got all 4 electoral votes. 2012, he got all 4 electoral votes. In 2016, Donald Trump got Maine's 2nd district with this 1 electoral vote. I think it's going to be like Obama in 2008 and 2012, and it's going to break for Joe Biden. I think he's going to win all 4. And ultimately, it's because of this trend where I think a lot of the support that Obama had is going to come out for Joe Biden again. A lot of the potential support that Trump had in 2016, I think that has evaporated. Not completely, but I think it's enough to ultimately break for Joe Biden in that state. Next up, last and certainly not least, is Pennsylvania. So this is the state that a lot of people are keeping their eyes on. I think this is going to go ultimately for Joe Biden, though it may not on election night. We may not know who wins that state on election night, and because of that, Trump will claim victory. I hope that doesn't happen, but if there is any question about the results in Pennsylvania on election night, then Trump will claim victory there. And we're already seeing reasons why. So Pennsylvania law prohibits election officials from processing mail-in ballots until Election Day, which means it could take days to know the winner in the state, leaving a window for Trump to claim victory before all the votes are counted. Bookvar has said she's confident the majority of votes will be counted by Friday. So the state that they, who's the state's top election official. So Kathy Bookvar, they think the votes will be counted by Friday, which is great. But in the world where Donald Trump wants to claim victory on Election Day, ultimately what happens, by Friday may not matter if Trump is going to push a legal challenge, which he's already saying he will do. This from the AP. Trump promises court fight over Pennsylvania absentee votes. So if there is not a clear victory on Election Day, Trump is going to try and fight what happens in Pennsylvania. But even with that, let's say, in my prediction map here, if Pennsylvania goes to Trump, Biden still wins. So, of course, that's assuming, Florida. But even if he loses Florida, Biden still wins. So it would have to take, Pennsylvania, Florida, and say maybe even if he loses that and North Carolina, Biden still wins. But let's say Arizona flips. Then we got a Trump victory. But these are a lot of ifs. Understand, Biden is heavily favored in many of these states that I picked here. So ultimately, I hope we have a result on election night. If we don't, there's going to be a crisis. But I hope and I think that turnout will be large enough and enough states will have counted their mail-in ballots, or at least enough of them, to be able to decide either way who won that state. Let's all wait and see. Let's all cross our fingers. Let's all hope that's the result. One more thing. Actually, I think so Pennsylvania polling as well, just to show you this, has been breaking for Biden in big numbers. Let me show you. Yeah. Popular vote, he's leading there in polling by a lot. And the forecast from 538 has him heavily favored to win that state. But let me also just show you, to end on the video here, one last time, my prediction. But this new poll that came out. Now, I did a video about a month ago on polling from Canada. I think it was similar to this. But if you could vote in the U.S. presidential election as a Canadian, who would you vote for? Biden with 81% support compared to Trump at 19%. Our media here in Canada isn't great, but it's not as insane as it is in the U.S. And I think that is a major piece of this. If you had a media that was a little less insane than they are in America, then this is where support should be. This should not be a close race. We should not be sweating and worrying about the result tonight. Donald Trump is completely insane. The fact that this race is even close is a problem. And a major piece of that is because of the media. So just showing you, how the rest of the world feels, or at least Canada in this case, next door neighbor, heavily favoring Biden over Trump. And again, this is not because Biden is awesome. He's not. He has many issues, as I've discussed in the past, and I will discuss, hopefully, if he wins. I will, of course, push the administration in many ways. But this is people recognizing how much of a chaotic and total idiot and destructive president Donald Trump is. Let's hope. Let's hope tonight gives us a final result. And I'm not going to live stream the entire night. You have many fantastic options out there. The Young Turks, Joe Rogan has on Kyle Kalinske and Alex Jones. That's going to be kind of crazy. I'll definitely be checking that out. Also, Majority Report, other channels with many guests on streaming during the night. I'll be on the Surfs on Twitch, twitch.tv. Find the Surfs on there. And at some point I'll be there. But essentially, if we have some kind of result on election night, I will go live, give my thoughts, maybe 10, 20 minutes, have a discussion with the audience. But I'm not sure what time that'll be. That could be midnight. That could be 3 a.m. It could be 8 p.m. I have no idea. But at some point in the night, I will go live. So make sure you have the sub button hit. Make sure you have the bell notification icon hit so you know when I go live. And once again, let's hope for a positive result.